Hello everyone. Google Cloud offers a variety of services for you to transfer files from on-premise to GCP or from different cloud vendor to GCP. It could be vice versa from GCP to on-premise and different cloud vendors. Such services are storage transfer services, Cloud SDK, transfer appliances. You probably are familiar with GS Util. Out of all these services, my personal favorite is storage transfer service, which is really robust and it can solve most of the file transfer use cases. So in this video, I'm going to show you how storage transfer services work and how you can set it up with a very simple example. It can be applied at a very production level solution as well. So without any further ado, let's jump right into it. So for the sake of this discussion, I am going to assume that I have a virtual machine on premise. For the demonstration purposes, I'm going to spin up a virtual machine within this GCP project where this VM is not aware of the this storage transfer service, and we will make sure that this transfer agent, which is the main component of the storage transfer service, can pick up files from this virtual machine and drop into GCS bucket. So I'm going to show you the VM that I have. In this case, this is the virtual machine. It's up and running. On the left side of the screen, I have the virtual machine, and I'm going to go into the storage transfer service and create agent pool. So before I create an agent pool, let me show you what exactly the storage transfer service console would look like. So there are two components here, the agent pools and transfer jobs. Let's go into agent pool. So agent pools are basically lightweight agents which sit on your compute instance. It could be a VM on your on-premise, it could be a VM in a different cloud vendor, and that agent is tagged along with the pub sub service in GCP, where it constantly looks for changes in that specific folder location, and if it detects any change in that folder location, be it a new file get loaded into that folder location or a change in that specific folder, it picks it up and drops into it picks it up and sends a message to storage transfer service, where storage transfer service picks it up and drops into the GCS bucket. It could be GCS bucket or it could be another POSIX file system. So let's go ahead and create one agent pool. So I've already created a couple of them, but let me show you what it takes to create an agent pool. So I'm going to create select on agent pool. It will ask you to give the pool ID, and it will ask you to set the limit. I'm going to select no limit. In your case, if you have a bandwidth limit, go ahead and use it. Once you create that agent pool, you will see the agent gets created like this, where the connection parameter shows no connection. I will show you how you can how we can basically connect this to the virtual machine and a location where the file needs to be picked up. So let's select the one that we just created and select on install agent. In here, it basically asks you to provide specific directory or a root of a file system where files needs to be picked up. So I'm going to select POSIX file system and pick the specific directory where I want the files need to be picked. As you can see, there are a couple of folders that I've given already, so feel free to name whatever you want. But the important thing here is to pick up this gcloud command. So this is exactly what you need to install the agent in the virtual machine where files need to be picked up. So I'm going to select this and go back to my VM and run this command. So just for the demonstration purposes, I've already installed an agent prior to this demo. So I'm going to show you the history of the commands that I ran. So this is exactly the agent installation command. But if you observe here, in the install agents guidelines, it will tell you that you need to install gcloud CLI and Docker into that specific VM to have this agent to be installed. So since this is a VM within GCP, my gcloud CLI is already installed, but I need to install Docker. So these are the instructions you will get prompted when you run this command. So don't worry about having knowledge about these things. So I first went ahead and ran this command, which is when it asked me to authenticate. Here, this is pretty well-known command where you run this. It will create a very huge link to authenticate. Once you select that link, it will generate a code copy that code and paste it into the command, and then it gets authenticated automatically. And once that's done, try running the command again, which will prompt you saying, hey, you do not have Docker installed, so let's just go ahead and install Docker. So this is the command it will prompt you to do. This is basically two commands. One to install the Docker command, the second one is to install the agent. So I went ahead and ran this Docker enable command, and once this is done, the Docker should be enabled. And this is the final gcloud install agent command, which is exactly what we've copied from here. And once this is done, the agent is successfully installed into your virtual machine. Once this is done, the way how you can check if this agent is successfully installed is to go back to your agent pool section and check if the connection says connected or not. So this is my agent that I successfully connected to this virtual machine. So we are good with our agent. So let's just move ahead with transfer job. So in this case, I am going to create a new transfer job. As you can see, I've tested a couple of transfer jobs before, but why don't we just go ahead and create one? So I'm going to select create transfer job and select source type. In this case, my source type is POSIX file system, and my destination type is GCS bucket, because I want to pick it up from my VM and drop it into the GCS storage bucket. So let's select next step, and then select the agent pool that we just created, which is this, and then the source directory path. In our case, the source directory path is where I need the agent to pick up the file from. So give the source directory path here and select the next step. So I'm going to just give home here, but in your case, give the source directory path, and then next, and then give the destination location. In this case, I'm going to select my GCS bucket, one of the GCS buckets that I have, and move forward with the next step. This is where you can configure this transfer job to run once in a day, once in a week, or if you have a custom frequency, if you want to run it ad hoc, and if you can also set it up based on time. You have several different options where you can run this. So let's pick something and move forward. So I'll show you what are other options you need to pick up. So I think I'll just pick up 26 and select. Give a name for your job, and there are a bunch of parameters you can select: when to overwrite, when to delete, based on your logic, based on your requirement. Select the option that you want, and once this is done, as you can see, I've scheduled a job before this demo, and this is successfully executed. So this is how you get a prompt when a job is successfully executed within the console. So once this is done, just go ahead and create. And your transfer job, within the transfer job section, you will have another one listed here which says, hey, your job is scheduled. Okay, so this is what you need to do from the storage transfer service. From the VM perspective, I scheduled that I need my file to be picked up. Let me just clear this, and I'll show you what exactly I dropped into this folder location. So I dropped a file called first file, and then I dropped a file called second file, and based on my schedule, the agent pool will look for this folder and see if there is any changes in it, and picks up that file and sends a message to storage transfer. So behind the scenes, agent pools are tagged along with the pub sub service, where it looks for a change and notifies the transfer service to see the changes, and if there are any changes, pick it up and drop it into the GCS bucket or wherever your destination location is. So let's just see. Yeah, I'm going to show you. Yeah, that's pretty much what you need to do from the VM perspective and from the storage transfer perspective. So I'm going to walk you through an example of what a successful transfer job would look like. You have, as you can see, there are 3 jobs here, and I'll show you what a successful job would look like. This is a successful transfer job where it will show you what exactly my scheduling mode is. In this case, it's a batch but not recurring, and if my progress is 100% or not, and the size of the file, and date, time, etc. So I'm going to select on this. I think this is pretty much what it says. Let's check into my GCS storage bucket, and see if this file gets loaded. I'll show you what exactly the storage transfer service creates when you set this up. So I'm going to go back into the cloud storage and select, where is it? This is the file that I created. This is the bucket folder in the bucket I created for this transfer job, and this is the file that got picked up from this VM and loaded into here. In addition to that, it creates some internal files, some files which I haven't explored much for you to explore. I think it's about the logs as such. But yeah, you can feel free to explore and see what exactly this is. But yeah, at a very high level, this is how you can use storage transfer service to move files from on-premise to GCP, and it could be from a different wherever you have a compute engine, wherever you have a file system that needs to be moved to GCS bucket or vice versa. Storage transfer service is very ideal, and that is something that I would highly recommend for you to use for file transfer. This can be used for your data migration strategy as well. So yeah, that's all for this video. If you found this video helpful and informative, please consider subscribing my channel. I'll try to make more and more informative videos like this. Until then, keep learning.